call Thru Prayer. My personal word is soul train. This is the soul train. This is for your soul.
A lot of times people are real apprehensive. A lot of times they won't come to a Sunday service. My husband and I decided to do what we call drive-through prayer. We also have clothing that we give out, so if anyone needs clothing, we have that as well. And we give them hot dogs and some chips and some water and just let them know that they're welcome here.
We have to come out from the walls, and we got to come up and down the street. We can tell them to stay in the car, just stay right there, but just let me pray for you, whatever's going down in your house. We here in Jesus' name just to love on our neighbors, on our brothers, like God said. He said, love on them like I love you. And the way he loved me, he came to me when I was in the cut, when nobody knew I was Sister Nobody, but I was somebody to Jesus.
But once they know that we're here, we just care for them. Maybe we can meet their needs. And so once they come and they feel the presence of God and they feel the love that we have for them, then they realize that, oh, this might be a place that they could worship.
But it ain't no joke, y'all. We all got issues. We got issues, and we dealing with them here, and we bringing them to the Lord, and he's fixing us. And we ain't ashamed. We coming back out with our hands up and said he did it.
Do a great work for her now.
Imagine for a moment, if you will, the world without books. I guess imagine first a world without websites, ebooks, zines and other digital forms of literature, and then imagine all of these books and pages and words all gone. More than websites or video or any other documentable medium, books have paved the way for humans to know how to live, or at least how we think we should live.
I'm Tristan Nichols and this is Refocus. Every week we're taking a look at the incredible people of San Diego and their ideas. Today's show is By the Book. We're taking a look at how books motivate people. Earlier on in the show, David Brooks showed us an incredible group of people in Lemon Grove who are utilizing prayer in a new form. Coming up, the role of a library. We're looking at how a library fits into, well, today's modern society. We'll also have a story about a World War II veteran who's rekindled his relationship with his daughter after she discovered his journal. But first, let's head over to an establishment which is, well, all about books.
This is Adams Avenue Bookstore in Normal Heights, San Diego. Now, Adams Avenue Bookstore has been in operation since 1965. It's a very long time. This building in particular used to be an apartment complex, and now there are books everywhere. It's hard to imagine its former life. Every shelf is full. If you look around, even the kitchen has got books in it. It's a wonderful place where every page of every book has a story, whether it's rare, whether they're new, whether it's used. Every page of every book here has a wonderful story behind it. And we're learning just some of those things. Now, for the moment, let's just have a look at these facts about the culture of books. Publishers' revenue from brick and mortar stores dropped 7% in 2012. That's about $7.5 billion. Meanwhile, revenue from online retailers increased by 21%, again around $6.9 billion. Now, that's only 8%, which is $600 million less than brick and mortar sales. According to the Census Bureau, 47% of US adults read at least one work of literature in 2012. That's down from 57% in 1982, which was the first year of this study. Still, there are more new books being released now than ever, with over 301,000 new print titles published in 2012. 391,000 titles were self-published in the same year, but 40% of those were ebooks. In 2012, online retailers earned 44% of the money spent on books in the US. That's a 39% increase from the year before. In 1998, there were over 12,000 bookstores in the US, but by 2011, that figure had dropped to 8,407. A similar decline is held true in the San Diego region, with the number of bookstores dropping by 40%. And that's before Borders closed all its stores last year. Even though it's a changing market, it's good to know that books still play a large role in our lives. Among selected leisure activities, reading books ranked third in a poll with 37.9% of a vote.
That was behind dining out and entertaining friends or relatives at home, but much higher than baking, Sudoku puzzles, or fantasy sports leagues. So, just as many books are being printed as ever before, which means people are still sitting down somewhere and reading them. If you go to a park or a coffee shop, you will always see someone sat down reading a book. So really, when you look at trends and trends of people, you know that people are still very much in that frame of mind where they just want to get lost in a book. I mean, if you want further proof of how books are still important in today's modern society, look at San Diego's new library. At a cost of, what, nearly $200 million, surely that's 200 million reasons why people would continue to want a resource like this. When we return, the role of a library. How exactly does San Diego's new central library provide an important role in our digital age?
And imagine how powerful that is for a person to be able to sit and think.
Welcome back to Refocus. I'm Tristan Nichols, and today's show, By the Book. We're taking a look at how books really motivate people. Right now, the role of a library. San Diego has a new central library, 30 years in the planning, nearly $200 million in costs. But is it really necessary? Libraries used to be the very fabric of a community, but how does a library fit into today's modern society? James Gregg takes a look.
These are books that have not had the opportunity to shine because there wasn't room in the old library to put them out and about for people to come and find on their own. While we know that lots of things are on the internet, there's some things that are not. Everything is not free.
The modern central library is not just a warehouse for books or a place for computer access. It's actually about something much more interesting, and that is it's about community. There is no other resource or facility that the city provides that is common ground for all San Diegans. I mean, no matter what your income level or your ethnic background or your interests or your age, this is accessible to you. This is a resource that is for you.
Places where people can contemplate, they can sit, they can relax and think. And imagine how powerful that is for a person to be able to sit and think.
The technology available today and how easy it is to communicate on cell phone. You don't have to even work in your office, you can work at home. I think there's been a loss of the feeling of community in our modern society. The library is the one institution that puts that back.
Big L and little L. Little Lola La, left leg, lazy. What is he? Lazy. You know what that is? A lazy lion.
It's one place where people can come and find their own way. They can come here, they can read a book, they can come here, they can do research, they can come here and find a job. Whether they are meeting with other individuals to discuss an idea, whether they want to talk about something going on in society and solve a very important problem that way, or perhaps they want to participate in something cultural.
Creating a place that has a little bit of magic as well, so that when you think of going to the library, it's something you'd like to do. It's a happy experience. It's not a chore. It's hopefully something wonderful. That journey, just like a movie or any other piece of art, needs to culminate. There needs to be a celebratory moment when you arrive at the emotional heart of the project. And that's the reading room. That really is the place of community. Geometrically, the reading room is a perfect cube, 64 feet on a side. It mirrors, in fact, the geometry of the lobby, which is also a cube, 64 feet. on the side. It's glass on all sides and on the roof. That's why we needed the dome to shade it. And by shading it with the dome and by carefully orchestrating the way the dome was made and the way the panels work in relation to the sun and the travel of the sun across the sky, the room has the feeling of dappled light, the same kind of light that you might feel under a large oak tree, for instance. From a structural engineer's standpoint, it is not a dome at all. It's a series of three-pointed arches. It's 8 sails, as we began to call them, that are supported on 3 points of the triangle. And that allowed us to create a dome-like object that could be tuned more carefully to the sunlight, to the way the sun moved across the sky.
You have this atmosphere of absolute wonder.
A building like this has to function emotionally. If it doesn't function emotionally or poetically, the building's a failure, no matter how many books it holds, no matter how many times it doesn't leak.
With a growing trend in e-books and other digital forms of books, libraries and bookstores are having to reinvent themselves in many ways to fit into today's society. After the break, we'll be taking you to Adams Avenue Bookstore, which is really fostering their community in order to survive. We'll also have the story of a World War II veteran and his daughter who've rekindled their relationship after the discovery of his journal. Stay with us.
I didn't want to relive it again. Once was enough.
Welcome back. Today's show, By the Book. We've heard how a group of people in Lemon Grove have utilised prayer in a new form using the Bible. Plus, we've also been down to San Diego's new Central Library to see how different ideas are really re-engaging with the community. Back at Adams Avenue Bookstore, I was given a tour and shown that some of the books on the shelves may be hidden away. Some of these stories have stories in themselves.
The people who visit these bookstores often gravitate towards their favourite sections, and some books will see the same hands over and over again. And at its very core, the nature of browsing a selection of books in front of you often hits you with surprises of books, well, you forgot you love.
I'd like to see this. The Cat in the Hat. That was a personal favourite of mine back in the day. By Dr. Seuss.
I think when I used to go to the library as a kid, I probably read every single Dr. Seuss book that they had.
My curator, if you will, Erin, showed me some of the more popular books in the store. Books that often get purchased. But when I asked her about a book that she loves, and believe me, she knows the store's collection really intimately, she quickly ran off to retrieve a gem.
Yeah, this is The Life of John Mitten. It's a hunter and sportsman in England in the 1800s. It's just gorgeous hand-colored illustrations, and it's been sitting around for years and nobody will pick it up. But it will be exciting to finally see it go to good home. Honestly, I don't think it's ever been read.
Would you be sad if it was sold?
Nah.
You'd just like to see it go to a good home?
I would like to see it go to a good home. I mean, books are not meant to sit around, so I'd like to see someone buy it who would cherish it and enjoy it the way a book is supposed to be enjoyed.
The stories these books tell, in between the pages and the seams of the bindings, are sometimes the deepest motivators. This was exactly the case with the journal of a local World War II veteran.
Two Messerschmitts 109s attacked our formation. They almost got us. Flak was very accurate. It burst all around us. One burst jolted the ship. Don't tell anybody, but I was scared. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was only 19, 20 years old. 19, I think I was. I was out of high school. I enlisted in August and the war broke out in December. So I went directly from radio school, which was only half finished, into an airplane and into the war. There's no use trying to tell anybody that you're not scared, because you are. You see that flak bursting around you. If any of it hits your airplane, you're done.
When I was a younger child, and I did ask him about it one time, his response to me was, Maureen, when I came back from the war, he said, the worst memories I have are the days that we came back from missions and we literally hosed bodies off of the planes. And he said, I don't want to talk about it. And from that moment in my life, I respected his wishes, and I never asked him another question.
I didn't want to relive it again. Once was enough.
I mean, he was there for me, of course. He walked me down the aisle. He made sure I had the prettiest dress for the prom. And, you know, I had my Easter bonnet every year, and the bunny came, and Santa was always wonderful to me. But I always felt he was so quiet and so closed, and I just couldn't get anything out of him, nothing. When he started talking about World War II and his life in the Air Force, this was a different man that I had never experienced. Never. I didn't know this 90-year-old man.
April 17th, 1943. Today's mission was awfully rough. We had 10 holes in our ship from enemy pursuits, 2 engines aflame. We lost a Fortress and 2 P-38s, 2 men killed and 5 seriously wounded. We had bad luck today. Pilot was Lieutenant Weichel. Bombardier was Lieutenant Radio Blair. Operator Sergeant Hanson, Sergeant Mees, Sergeant Fitzpatrick. The last guy was in the ball turret. Hoops fighter rammed into them from the front. They were all personal friends of mine. Makes the heart beat a little faster when I see some of the photos of the guys that didn't come back. A lot of them didn't come back.
It burned inside of me when I found out that he had documented all of his records, that he had sent all of his information, and all he received back was a letter stating there was a fire, and we can't help you. They just wouldn't give him his medals, and their excuses were poor. So I started researching his books. I found documentation of his missions. I found his name in confidential, restricted records. I highlighted it. I put arrows at his name, and it stated how many missions. I couldn't believe it. I thought, did he really go through all of this? Daddy was becoming more that military hero in my eyes than Daddy. I was angry that I was so old to be finding this out. I kind of was sad that I didn't know sooner, that I'm just flying through life talking about my dad. And now I feel like it's a gift to finally get the warmth to come out of my dad. It's just a whole different person to talk to now. He's open.
You have to excuse the old guy. Getting more hard of hearing every day.
You're doing pretty good. We don't have to scream yet.
I was no hero. I was scared to death. But we weren't there because we volunteered. We were there because there was a war on, and we didn't have any choice. We had to go.
I can't tell you the love and the pride that swells from me every day I look at him now. I will never, ever forget this. Never. I have a different father. Never gave him the respect I should have, but it was because I didn't know. I didn't know. And now I'm old enough. And now I know. It was really nice to finally get to know Zane Gemill.
Thanks for watching our first episode. Every week we'll bring you stories on a topic. Today's stories are brought to you by James Gray, David Brooks, with graphics by Beto Alvarez. Thanks also to Adams Avenue Bookstore for taking us around. If you want to catch up on any of the stories that we've featured in today's show, check out utsandiego.com. Also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. But for now, this has been Refocus, and I'm Tristan Nichols.